Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here again to dig into the source material, pull out those core insights, and really give you the high-impact knowledge you need to, well, move forward.
And today, we are getting into something really significant. It's a deep dive into personal growth, specifically looking at how to drop the excuses, face down those societal pressures,
Yeah, the ones that hold you back.
Exactly. And how to actually pursue those big, audacious goals, the ones you maybe only admit to yourself. Our source today is Rachel Hollis's girl, Stop Apologizing, a shame-free plan. It's known for being pretty candid.
Oh, definitely. And this isn't just like fluffy motivation we're talking about. We're looking at a real toolkit here. It's got praise from people like Dr. John C. Maxwell, Gretchen Rubin, big names.
Right. They recognize its honesty, its focus on tangible action. It's not just about feeling inspired for 5 minutes.
It's about doing something.
Precisely. And the whole tone is set by this idea of intentionality. It's interesting. The book was almost titled Sorry, Not Sorry.
Oh, really? Like the song. Yeah.
Exactly. Inspired by Demi Lovato. And that led Hollis to ask this central question. What am I not sorry about? That frame, moving towards deliberate self-acceptance, ditching the constant need for approval. That's the foundation for everything else.
I love that energy. It reminds me of that story she tells about reading all those Regency novels.
Yeah.
And deciding her New Year's resolution was just to start using the phrase Tinker's Dam more often.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, it's that kind of like defiant commitment.
Yeah.
Saying, nope, I choose this. And that's the spirit you need, isn't it? To dismantle a whole lifetime of, well, psychological baggage.
Absolutely. And that's our mission today. We want to distill those barriers, the guilt, the people-pleasing, the fear of what others think, and really synthesize the concrete actions, the actual skills you need to create real change, not just, temporary motivation.
Lasting change.
Lasting change. So if you want more of this kind of actionable, really detailed content that saves you, frankly, hours of reading, please hit that like button. Subscribe to the deep dive. It really helps.
Yeah, and drop us a comment below. Let us know what topic you want us to break down next. Your input genuinely shapes what we cover.
It really does. We want this to be valuable for you.
Okay, so let's dive into part 1. That first big hurdle the book identifies, the sheer psychological weight of expectation. Hollis says many women are basically overcoming a lifetime of people-pleasing.
That's it. It's the core struggle. And it's not just like a minor personality quirk. It's framed as this identity trap, reinforced socially, pretty much from day one.
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting is she points out that for her personally, there was one area where she kind of mastered this early on. And that was in the dreaming part, the big, audacious dreaming.
So she could dream big without feeling bad about it.
Exactly. Like whether she wanted to be a third-grade teacher or start a dog grooming place that dyed poodles pink, or, save up for some crazy over-the-top vacation where everyone had to call her Bianca. She just owned those desires, didn't feel the need to justify them, didn't ask permission. The dreaming itself, that was easy for her.
So where did the difficulty come in?
The execution. Because the second that dream required taking time or resources away from fulfilling her expected roles, wife, mother, daughter, that's when the guilt crept in.
Right. And that connects to what the book analyzes as this fundamental lie, doesn't it? That women are taught their value is primarily, almost entirely, wrapped up in other people's happiness.
Precisely.
Hey.
You're seen as successful if you're a good wife, meaning your husband's happy, or a good mother, your kids are thriving. The focus is constantly external.
And you see that reflected in, like, everyday praise, right?
Totally. Think about it. Who gets praised? It's almost always tied to acts of service for others. No one really looks at a mom who's spending 3 hours writing her novel and says, wow, what an amazing wife and mother she is right now.
No, but if she spends those 3 hours baking for the school bake sale,
then she's a hero, a pillar of the community. And this constant conditioning, it makes pursuing those internal goals, the ones that may primarily benefit you, feel inherently selfish. Because that energy isn't going outward into those approved roles.
Which leads directly into this idea of the double life she describes living. For 5 years.
5 years. Publicly, she was this, relatable DIY blogger, home cook type, very approachable, but secretly, she was this incredibly ambitious entrepreneur, running a company, staff of 5, working like 60+ hours a week, traveling all the time.
And the key thing is she loved that work, right? But she hid it.
Kept it total under wraps, buried the achievements, never mentioned the nanny, the housekeeper, the business trips that made it all possible. And the consequence, it wasn't just stress, it was severe, chronic, paralyzing anxiety attacks.
Wow.
Yeah, and she realized it was because she cared more about being loved by others than I cared about loving myself. By hiding her real ambitious self, she created this deep personal shame.
Okay, so this is where we need to pause and really get clear on the difference between guilt and shame. The book draws on Brené Brown's work here, which is so important.
It is. Guilt is feeling bad about something you did. I made a mistake. And the good thing about guilt, if there is one, is that it can motivate you to change your behavior, fix the mistake.
Right, but shame.
Shame is different. Shame is feeling bad about who you are. I am a mistake. It's an identity thing.
And when you hide the truth, the nanny, the travel, the success, you're essentially telling yourself that your authentic, ambitious self is fundamentally flawed, unacceptable.
Exactly. And that shame makes you incredibly vulnerable to external pressures, especially what she calls OPO, other people's opinions.
OPO, she calls that the primary dream killer.
Because think about it. If you aim high, if you put yourself out there, failure is not just possible, it's probable at some point. And it'll happen publicly.
Like her story about aiming for the New York Times bestseller list with "Girl, Wash Your Face." She called her shot, told everyone, and then missed it eventually.
Right. With 850,000 people watching on social media. That kind of public vulnerability, it's terrifying for most people.
Understandably so.
But the lesson she hammers home is crucial. If you only aim for what you know you can hit, you will never achieve anything beyond your current comfort zone. Never fly higher, bigger, better.
So you need a defense against OPO. How did she break that down?
Okay, she talks about two main types of negative opinions you'll encounter. First is substantiated opinion. This is feedback that's delivered directly to you.
Okay.
Now, this could be kind, constructive criticism, something you should definitely consider, weigh up, but maybe not blindly follow. Or, and this is key, it can be destructive, just meant to tear you down. Malicious.
And what's the advice for that destructive kind?
Simple. Reject it. Outright. You don't owe toxic people space in your head. As she puts it pretty bluntly, ain't nobody got time for that. Whether it's a relative, a stranger online, you don't have to absorb that venom. Recognizing destructive intent is like step one in building your psychological defenses.
Okay, but then there's the second type, which might be even sneakier, hearsay opinion.
Yes. This is the negativity that lives entirely inside your own head. The stuff you make up.
Like imagining what your cousin Crystal might be saying behind your back. Or assuming your mother-in-law disapproves of your career.
Exactly that. You invent these scenarios, these judgments, and the great irony, she points out, is that most of the time, nobody is actually thinking about you. They're busy with their own lives.
So you're essentially sabotaging yourself with a fictional jury.
Totally. A jury that's way harsher than any real person would likely be. This made-up worry only has power if you let it. The defense. Actively recognize that voice as fictional. If it's not substantiated, it's not real feedback. It's just noise trying to keep you small.
Speaking of internal critics, we absolutely have to talk about mommy guilt. The book's stance is pretty stark.
Oh, yeah. Her words, mommy guilt is bullshit.
Strong language. Why does she feel so strongly about that?
Because, she argues, it's almost always destructive, not constructive. She called it a gross, horrendous, cancerous thing. It focuses on beating yourself up over things you perceive as failings. And that just drains the confidence, the energy you actually need to, improve or make different choices.
But I can hear someone listening thinking, wait, shouldn't I feel bad if I miss my kid's game for work? Isn't some accountability good?
Accountability, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But guilt, especially the kind that spirals into self-loathing, is the wrong engine. Her point is, you make hundreds, maybe thousands of parenting decisions every day. You're going to mess up sometimes. You're going to suck at it, as she says.
She uses that anecdote about the sunscreen, right?
Yeah, trying to put sunscreen on her daughter. The kid falls, bumps her head. She was trying to do the right thing, protect her kid, and it still went wrong. Berating yourself over the inevitable imperfections of parenting. That doesn't actually make you a better parent. It just makes you miserable.
So the core idea seems to be rejecting this either mentality. You can be ambitious, pursue your goals, and show up well for the people you love. It's not one or the other.
Exactly. You don't have to choose between being a great entrepreneur and a great mom, or a great student and a great partner. Rejecting that false dichotomy, that frees up a massive amount of emotional energy.
Okay, so once you've started shedding that external weight, managing the inner critic, the next big piece is clarity, right? Moving beyond just wishing and dreaming.
Yes. Turning those dreams into actual concrete action. Dreams are that what-if stage, What if I went back to school? What if I finally wrote that book? They're vital spark plugs.
But hope alone isn't enough.
Nope. The book is very clear. A goal is a dream with its work boots on. Hope is lovely, it's essential, but hope is not a strategy. It's the action that follows the hope that creates change.
And why is translating hope into goals so critical?
Because fundamentally, growth equals happiness. Purpose equals happiness. Humans need something to strive for. It doesn't matter what your life looks like. High-powered exec or stay-at-home parent having a goal, something you're actively working towards, gives you that sense of purpose, of control.
It stops life feeling like it's just happening to you.
Exactly. And to give structure to this, she introduces the 10-10-1 framework. It's pretty straightforward, but really focused.
Let's break it down. Step 1.
Step 1 is the 10 years vision. This is a deliberate imagination exercise. You need to close your eyes, really visualize the best possible ideal version of yourself a decade from now.
And not just vaguely, right? Specifics matter.
Critically important.
Yeah.
Get super specific. What clothes are you wearing? What specific feeling of joy are you experiencing? What does your relationship with your partner actually look like? Your car, your work. You write it all down fast without judging it. Just get that future vision clear.
Okay, vision locked in. What's next?
Next, you translate that vision into 10 dreams. These have to be specific, measurable outcomes, not just be happier or travel more. Think concrete achievements that align with that 10-year vision.
And then comes the writing technique, which seems really key.
It is. This is where it goes beyond just like basic goal setting. She instructs you to write down those 10 dreams every single day. But here's the twist. Write them as if they've already happened.
So not, I will have $1 million, but I have $1 million in the bank. Why that present tense?
It's about bypassing your brain's natural resistance. Your subconscious, your reticular activating system, is designed to look for evidence of what you tell it is true. If you say, I am going to start a business, your brain focuses on the overwhelming process of starting.
Which can feel paralyzing.
Right. But if you state, I own a profitable business serving 100 clients, your brain shifts. It starts looking for patterns, opportunities, actions today that align with that current reality you've stated. It's basically tricking, or maybe directing, your subconscious to work towards the outcome.
That makes a lot of sense. It's framing the future as the present. Like her example, that famous one, I only fly first class.
Yeah, which sounds potentially superficial on the surface.
Right, like it's just about luxury.
But her reasoning wasn't the champagne or the legroom. It was about needing privacy to work. She realized she needed to be able to sit like cross-legged in her seat with her laptop out, writing really personal stuff. She mentions a chapter on her sex life without someone peering over her shoulder.
So the first class seat was a tool for her work, a necessity.
Exactly, which is why it became a priority dream for her specific needs and goals. Okay, so you have your 10 dreams written daily in the present tense, the final step of the framework.
Choosing the one goal.
Yes. Out of those 10 dreams, you pick the single goal you'll focus on this year because it's the one that will propel you towards your 10-year vision the fastest.
And again, specific and measurable.
Absolutely. Lose 100 pounds, save $5,000, write 50,000 words. Something concrete. And she emphasizes focusing on consistency over setting arbitrary deadlines like by June 1st. It's about the steady effort.
Okay, one goal identified. Now comes the hard part, doesn't it? The trade-offs.
The unavoidable truth. Success requires sacrifice. You must ask yourself, what am I willing to give up to get this?
Because it's easy to say you'll give up Netflix. It's harder when it's sleep or time with family or just rest.
Exactly. And the book doesn't romanticize this at all. She shares her own experience starting her event planning company, huge mortgage, couldn't quit her day job. So what did she trade?
Not just free time, but recovery time.
Right. She gave up her evenings, her weekends. For a full year, she interned for free with local wedding planners, putting in hundreds of hours just to learn the ropes. She was sacrificing immediate comfort, relaxation for that long-term vision.
And that grind doesn't just stop once you make it, does it?
Not according to her experience. Writing her first book, that meant getting up at 5 a.m. every day to write before her kids woke up. Even now, she talks about sacrificing rest, editing chapters on airport stairways, because the mission of the book matters that much to her.
So the question you have to ask yourself is my one goal valuable enough to justify that cost? The physical cost, the emotional cost?
Precisely. If the answer is no, then it's probably not the right one goal for you right now.
Okay, so sustaining that kind of effort, making those sacrifices, it requires a really solid foundation, doesn't it? You can't pour from an empty cup.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
You can't chase huge goals if you're running on fumes, physically or mentally. And the framework for this starts with a really powerful metaphor she uses.
The vase analogy.
Yes, I think it's brilliant because it completely reframes that toxic idea of work-life balance.
Which she argues is kind of impossible, right? This idea of perfectly equal slices of pie.
Exactly. It sets you up for failure. Instead, she talks about centeredness. Imagine you are a vase. If you stand tall, prioritize filling yourself up first, then the water, your love, your energy, your joy naturally overflows to the people around you.
But if you're constantly tipping yourself over to pour directly into your kids, your partner, your job,
You eventually run dry. Or worse, you break. You have to fill your own vase first. That's the core principle.
how do you keep that vase full? That's where the 5 to thrive come in.
Yes. These are 5 foundational habits, non-negotiables really, designed to build the physical and emotional reserves you need for the long haul.
Okay, number 1 seems simple, but it's first for a reason. Hydration.
Drink half your body weight in ounces of water daily. Sounds basic, right? But she highlights that dehydration often feels like hunger, which can totally derail goals around eating or self-control.
But why water first? Why not, say, exercise?
Because the immediate goal here isn't just physical health, it's building discipline and self-trust. Drinking water is arguably the simplest promise you can make to yourself and actually keep.
Ah, okay, so if you can't stick to that...
How are you going to stick to writing a novel? Or training for a marathon? It builds that fundamental muscle of following through on your own commitments.
Makes sense. Okay, number 2. Wake up earlier. Specifically, an hour before everyone else in the house.
This is about seizing control of your day. Starting on the offensive, as she puts it. If you're woken up by a crying baby or your partner's alarm, you're immediately reacting. You're behind.
Chaotic from the start.
Exactly. That first hour, that's your sacred time. For exercise, meditation, writing, just quiet coffee. It establishes control before the world starts making demands on you.
And she acknowledges exceptions, right? Like new moms, shift workers.
Of course. It's about the principle. Fight for some protected time for you whenever you can realistically carve it out.
Okay. Number 3. Give up one category of food for 30 days.
Again, the primary driver here isn't necessarily weight loss, though that can be a side benefit. It's about proving to yourself that you have self-discipline, that you can keep a promise to yourself.
So pick something specific, like fast food or soda.
Yeah, one crappy food category. And you commit to 30 days.
Yeah.
Crucially, if you slip up, the 30 days starts over. It's tough, but incredibly effective for rebuilding self-trust and confidence in your own willpower.
Right. Number 4, move your body every day. Minimum 30 minutes.
Doesn't have to be our hardcore gym session, a walk, some stretching, dancing in your kitchen counts. The point is energy creates energy. She mentions that stat about 97% of top performers working out 5+ days a week.
It's about respecting yourself enough to move.
Yes. Treating yourself like a capable human, not just, as she puts it, a sedentary pet. Movement is directly linked to mental clarity, resilience, everything you need for the goal chase.
And finally, number 5, maybe the most important. Practice gratitude daily.
And the key here is specificity. Don't just write, I'm grateful for my family. Write down 10 specific things that happened today.
Like the sun was shining during my walk, or my coworker brought me coffee, or I found a great parking spot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Small, tangible things.
Right.
This forces your brain to actively scan your day for positives, pulling you out of a potential scarcity or complaint mindset. It conditions you to see the good.
Okay, those 5 habits build the internal foundation. But you can't do it all alone. The next piece is asking for help.
Yes, and this directly attacks that toxic do-it-all-myself myth, particularly for women. She really calls out what she terms the celebrity lie.
Explain that one.
She talks about seeing these interviews with super successful celebrity moms who claim they manage everything, career, kids, perfect home, just by being really organized.
Yeah, you hear that a lot.
And Hollis calls BS on that. She argues it's a harmful fabrication because that celebrity almost certainly have a team. Nannies, house managers, assistants, chefs. By not disclosing that support system, they make average people feel inadequate, like they could achieve that too if only they tried harder or were more organized.
Which leads to burnout and feeling like a failure.
Totally. So her solution isn't just getting help, it's being radically honest about the help you have.
She's very open about her own staff, isn't she?
Extremely. Full-time nanny since her first baby, full-time housekeeper, assistants, stylists. She broadcasts it. Because that honesty frees her time and energy to focus on her actual mission, her core work. The message for you, the listener, is you are not meant to navigate this difficult path alone. Success requires support. Raise your hand. Ask your partner for dedicated time. Ask a friend for coaching. Hire help if you can.
That analogy she uses about choking is stark.
It's terrifyingly effective, isn't it? Most people who choke die near someone who could have saved them, but they were too embarrassed to signal they needed help. Don't let your dreams die because you're too proud or embarrassed to ask for support.
Which flows right into the importance of community and influence, the people you surround yourself with.
Foundational truth. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
So if you're always the most ambitious, the most driven one in your circle.
You're in the wrong circle. It sounds harsh, but the book argues that if everyone around you is looking to you for motivation and energy, they're far more likely to drain you and pull you back down to their level.
The gravity of mediocrity.
It's strong. You have to protect your energy and your aspirations fiercely. Find people who challenge you, who operate at the level you aspire to, or higher.
She shares that personal story about a vacation during a rough patch in her marriage, right?
Yeah, it's a great example of the right kind of community. She might expecting her friends to just validate her anger, bash her husband with her.
We've all been there.
Right. But these friends, who she admired for their own grace and intentionality, didn't do that. They gently challenged her perspective, spoke truth into the situation, reminded her of the kind of partner she wanted to be. It wasn't comfortable, but it prompted growth. That's what a powerful community does. They don't just echo your complaints, they elevate you. Oh, okay, final section. We've talked mindset, foundation, support. Now let's get into the practical skills to acquire. These aren't innate talents. They're learned abilities developed through practice.
Like building a muscle. Skill number 1, planning, creating that roadmap.
Yes, and the reason this is so crucial is illustrated perfectly by her disastrous travel story.
The pre-GPS nightmare trip to Amsterdam.
Exactly. Flying to Europe, aiming for Amsterdam. Flight gets diverted because of weather. Okay, fine. But diverted where? Not somewhere nearby. Frankfurt, Germany.
Whoa, different country entirely.
Totally different country. And with no plan B, no map, they just kind of blindly follow the crowd onto a train, then some smelly bus. They finally get off, think they're in Amsterdam, show their hotel printout to a local guy.
And he says,
is Amsterdam, which technically maybe was Greater Amsterdam area. But they were still 2 hours away from their actual hotel. Total chaos, because they didn't know their starting point, Frankfurt, and had no map to the destination.
That's a perfect metaphor for trying to reach a goal without a plan. So the strategy is to reverse engineer it.
Precisely. You start at the end and work backwards.
Yeah.
1, the finish line. That's your specific 1 goal. Let's say publish a cookbook.
Okay.
2, the starting point. Now, you need a brutally honest assessment. What are your current resources? Your assets, your liabilities. For the cookbook, maybe an asset is, some food photographers. A liability, 0 clue how to get a literary agent. Be real about where you are now.
Got it. Assets and liabilities. Then
3, guideposts and mile markers. This is where you map the steps backward from the finish line. Guideposts are the big, potentially taunting milestones, the impossibles, like securing that agent or submitting the final book proposal.
And mile markers.
Those are the smaller, achievable, daily or weekly actions that get you to the guideposts. Things like research 20 potential agents, or write 500 words of the proposal outline today, or test 3 recipes this week. Small, manageable chunks.
And there's a key warning here, right, about focusing on the what, not the how initially.
Critical warning. If you get bogged down immediately in the how, but how do I find an agent when I know nobody, you'll get stuck. Analysis paralysis. Instead, focus on the what. I need a book proposal. Okay, what goes into that? Table of contents, chapter outlines, sample recipes. You can break that down into mile markers you can tackle today. The how often reveals itself once you start taking action on the what.
Okay, that makes sense. Skill number 2, confidence. She argues this is learned, not something you're just born with.
Yeah, and she connects it, interestingly, to the physical self first. Confidence comes from liking the way you look, not necessarily looking a specific way dictated by society.
So it's about feeling good in your own skin, whatever that means for you.
Exactly. She talks about her own decision to get cosmetic surgery after having kids, framing it as an investment in her own self-assurance. She realized she'd previously judged women who focused on appearance because of her own insecurities. When she felt good, whether that meant false lashes and heels one day or sneakers and a hat the next, her performance improved. It's about aligning your outer presentation with your inner feeling of capability.
But it can't just be about appearance. It needs to be backed by action, right? She differentiates between faking it and something else.
Right. It's not just fake it till you make it. It's about pushing yourself to the very edge of your current skill set, operating right at the boundary of your comfort zone.
Explain that edge.
Okay, the Sundance catering story is the perfect example. She gets offered this massive catering gig. Did she know how to cater an event that size? No. That skill wasn't fully formed.
So she was faking it.
Not quite. She did have years of experience managing caterers as vendors for her events. She knew logistics, she knew planning, she trusted her ability to research and figure out the food side. So he said, yes, of course I can do that. She leaned into the edge of her competence, trusting her foundational skills, and it became her most profitable contract ever. That's confidence built on a willingness to learn and execute, not just empty bravado.
Okay. Skill 3, effectiveness. Moving beyond just being busy to actually being productive. This involves ditching the standard to-do list.
Yes. To-do lists, she argues, are often traps. They fill up with dozens, maybe hundreds of easy, low-impact tasks, answer emails, tidy desk, organize files, things that make you feel busy but don't actually move you closer to your one goal.
So what's the alternative? The results list.
Exactly. Instead of listing tasks, you define the outcome you need from a specific work session.
How does that look practically?
You ask, what is the tangible end result I need from this block of time? It has to be measurable. Not just work on budget, but finalize the Q3 budget spreadsheet. Not write, but write 2,500 words of the book proposal. Or increase average online sale value by 3%.
So your brain knows the target.
Precisely. It helps you filter out the fluff and focus on the actions that will actually achieve that specific result, often revealing faster or smarter ways to get there.
And achieving that focus often means controlling your environment, using zone makers.
Yeah, little rituals or tools that signal to your brain it's focus time. For her, it might be specific music, like Kendrick Lamar, or a certain type of coffee she only drinks when writing, and critically, eliminating distractions.
Phone flipped over, Wi-Fi off.
Maybe even physically changing location. She found she wrote twice as fast at a coffee shop because she wasn't tempted by household chores or staff interruptions at her office. Efficiency isn't about brute force. It's often about removing the friction that slows you down.
Okay, final skill, number 4. And this ties everything together. Learning to say no without the guilt.
Absolutely crucial. If an opportunity, a request, a commitment isn't a hell yes, an enthusiastic aligned with your priorities, yes, then it has to be a no.
Saying no protects your time and energy for that one goal.
Exactly. She uses her own very direct example. School volunteering.
Yeah.
She admits she hates it, finds it boring, doesn't even like all the kids.
Brutal honesty.
Right.
Huh.
So she just doesn't do it unless it's absolutely unavoidable. She's identified her core priorities, her self-faith, her marriage, her kids, specifically through things like cheering at their games, family dinners, bedtime stories, and her work mission. Volunteering at the school book fair. Doesn't make the cut, it's a no. But being front row at the soccer game, that's a hell yes.
But saying no, especially to people you care about, inevitably leads to pushback, right? People feel inconvenience.
They absolutely will, and you have to be ready for that. The advice is clear. Communicate your why behind the no. Explain your priorities. And understand that sometimes in a supportive relationship, the other person will be inconvenienced by your boundaries. That's okay. Part of mutual respect.
Your boundaries aren't suggestions.
They can't be, especially when you're aiming higher. You're disrupting the status quo, the comfortable equilibrium. People will consciously or unconsciously try to pull you back. You have to hold firm to that no when it aligns with your yes.
Wow. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground today. We started with shedding the apologies, the shame, the weight of other people's opinions.
Then moved into getting crystal clear with that 10-10-1 framework for setting goals that actually mean something.
Then building that solid personal foundation, the 5 to Thrive habits, asking for help, surrounding yourself with the right people.
And finally, acquiring those essential learned skills, planning like a strategist, building real confidence, working effectively, and mastering the art of saying no.
It feels like the overarching theme is really about reframing ambition, especially for women. It's not presented as selfish or dangerous.
Not at all. It's framed as a powerful, even necessary force for positive change and self-improvement. Whether that ambition is getting a master's degree while teaching full-time, or training for your first marathon after having kids, or building a global business, that desire to be more, to achieve something significant to you, that's vital. You deserve to pursue that.
And the final commitment it demands. It's simple, but definitely not easy.
Just go all in. Treat your goal not as a temporary project, but as part of who you are now. And know that you will stumble, you'll fall off track.
Consistency over intensity.
Always.
Yeah.
Getting back up is the win. Keep showing up.
There's that powerful quote to end on. Who you are is defined by the next decision you make, not the last one.
Right. You always have the chance to start again, right now. Forget the past mistakes. Forget waiting for the perfect plan. The answer is usually simpler, though harder. Consistent action and unwavering belief that it's possible for you.
So we really hope this deep dive has maybe sparked some courage, given you some tools to take that next step without apology. The challenge for you listening is, what's the one small decision you can make today to start moving towards that 10-year vision of yourself?
Just one thing. Today.
If you found value here, if this conversation resonated, please do us a huge favor. Like this deep dive, subscribe to the deep dive so you don't miss future insights.
And please comment below. Tell us your biggest what-if goal. What's that audacious dream you're maybe ready to stop apologizing for? We love hearing from you.
We'll be back next time, ready to unpack another set of sources for dedicated learners like you.